a better Nigeria? Is it a myth or do we keep hoping?
Nigeria is a highly religious country. How come corruption thrives?
Why is adoption not encouraged in Nigeria?
Is there a future for the Nigerian youth?
Being rich and famous, is that the only drive to be an artist?
What makes a great nation? Is it the leaders? What about the people?
This is Answers with Dr. Reju.
Hi, my name is Onari, and this is Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified. Today our focus is going to be on constitutionalism, and we have a guest in the studio, Barrister Madaki, who is a lecturer of law at the University of Jos. You're welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
He'll be giving us his professional insight to the throbbing questions that we have in our hearts about the law. Dr. Reju, it's good to have you on the program.
Thank
welcome.
You.
And Obi Brown and Adam Slojo, good to see you guys. Welcome to the program.
Thank you.
And our newest panelist on the program, Mr. Isaac Omoniye. Welcome on board.
Thank you, Lord.
It's good to have you. Now, let's get started.
In our law, Barrister Madaki is here. In our law, where can citizens find their own protection in terms of whistleblowing, in terms of being able to come forward with information? And I know that as a former banker, if I'm privy to some information as regards my, within my professional circle, I signed to an oath of secrecy. But that doesn't prevent me from telling my management about something that has gone wrong. In that sense, I am protected. And I know that internationally, that if somebody, gives information about maybe a criminal or a suspect, he or she is protected. Do we have such in our laws? If we do, which I want to believe we do, how can citizens take advantage of that kind of protection?
Thank you very much, sir. Well, when we talk about whistleblowing, for disclosing glaring and blatant acts of, like what the example we just gave right now of corruption, the laws in Nigeria are very, very clear. Somebody joked and said Nigerian laws are so many that we don't even seem to have a count of them again. The American Constitution is just barely 1,000 words, but the Nigerian Constitution alone is about 318 sections. But you see, just 1,000 words of
problem with that. Sections, paragraphs, chapters.
Very true, very true. And nothing is being done about it. And then we are even having a situation where our laws are beginning to conflict. For instance, we are now having the Whistleblowers Act. We have the Freedom of Information Act. And then we have some provision. We have the Official Secrecy Act. So you wonder, what are we doing? Where are we going to? So I think at an individual level, yes, the Constitution gives you what we call the freedom of expression. Now, since the Constitution is simple in legal parlance, what we call the ground norm, that simply means it is the basis upon the Nigerian Republic. That any other law that conflicts with it is null and void. So that means you have the right to express yourself. Now, but no rights are absolute. We have checks to rights. So you can express yourself, but mind somebody else's rights. So yes, you can be a whistleblower, but don't forget that there are issues of defamation of character. There's the issue of libel. Now, in the case we're talking about Dr. George, he took a wise step, which I encourage Nigerians to do. You have facts that you want to put across, but because of the nature of the system we operate, one thing you can do, you go through civil society organizations.
Okay.
Because they are respected. Yeah. They know what to do. You can use them as a cover. All you just do, supply facts. Okay. Yeah, supply facts to them. They can take it upon themselves. We saw the saga even in Lagos State, where the former governor, BRF, popularly we call him BRF, Fashola, was, it was alleged that he used about $78 million to put up, a website. Now it is CACOL, that is the campaign, a coalition against corrupt leaders. But we know, as popularly said, is the voice of Jacob, but the hand of Esau. We know there's somebody behind pulling the strings. But so that's one of the protection. But by the laws, yes, you should ordinarily have protection. But we know that when the chips are down, actually, you're going to be visited with more than what you bargained for. So in order to hide from that, please, we advise to blow the whistle, blow it well, but use these SCSOs because they are protected by the laws.
That's a point that needs to be emphasized for citizens, sort of information.
Yes.
It is better to use civil society organizations. It is better you don't go as an individual. You want to go as a body.
Very
so
true.
that's well respected. It has more credibility because you can easily be sidelined and say that you are trying to just promote something that's personal. So, people out there need to understand this, that you don't want to go, blow a whistle, just talking like, as an individual. You want to go through the platform of maybe human rights, association or, all those kind of things.
Okay. Well, moving on. I mean, you just mentioned something which we have not known.
Yeah.
380 sections in the Constitution, written maybe not in English, in Loyanese or something like that.
Loyanese.
Yeah. But I mean, we have always known about the Freedom of Information Act, just known about it because it made a lot of noise. But we have not heard about this Whistleblowers Act. I mean, as a layman, how can I get to know a little bit more about the law? How the law protects me, how the law, my duties under the law, and things like that. Yeah.
Well, as it was pointed out, we have a system that, has refused to function well. When you look at the Ministry of Justice, let me start from the public sector. The Ministry of Justice, federal, state, we have what we call the Citizens' Rights, Advocacy Center. In fact, we have a Director of Citizens' Rights. Now, what the government ought to do is to have an interface. For instance, NOA, National Orientation Agency, interfaces with the relevant government agencies to drum out, churn out programs and the policies so that people get to know. Because the law is just nothing but just written in black and white in books if you can't see the practical implementation, when people see them. So, for instance, I talked about the Whistleblowers Act. That was done to cure the problems that the Freedom of Information Act has. What's the problem with Freedom of Information Act? Yes, you are given freedom to access information with the right hand, but the left, you are being denied. Because you will be shocked to find out that there's certain information which are classified. They say they are sensitive, for national interest, international interest, and all those, so you can't access them. But the Whistleblowers Act is just a way of saying, okay, come forward, say it, under whichever guise. We'll check it. If it's factual, we proceed. So, for an individual, what we encourage people to do is do your best. Be politically conscious. When a news item comes out, ask so many questions. And it's an indictment also. I say this with all humility. An indictment also onto the Nigerian Bar Association. When you look at the Nigerian Bar Association, we have what they call the Directorate for Human Rights. But are we really performing our function? Because we should be able to carry it down to the grassroots. We saw what INEC did through election. Jingles went in languages. People could know what was going to come up in Nigeria. But sadly speaking, you see Nigerians walk on the streets being harassed even as Nigerians, but they're not aware of their rights. So it's a function of bringing that thing that is high sounding, bringing it down, breaking down to the common man. And what we should do, government should interface, but also lawyers, who most of us are in, also the private sector, take it upon ourselves to educate people on their rights. Because if you don't know your rights, when you run foul of the law, or you don't even run foul, nobody knows. And it's popularly said, ignorance of the law is not an excuse.
Yeah, one point that I'll try to make here is that on the issue of, educating people on their rights, it has to be something that is institutional, not something that's an event. It can't happen in seminars. It can't happen in conferences. People will know their rights just by being educated. Even if you go to vocational school, even if you go to a formal school, it should have a way of it being embedded in the curriculum. While I was young and we were doing civics in school, all those things were there. Yes. But I think it's, over time, those things, maybe by act of omission or commission, those things were taken off. Those things there was a way those things were part and parcel. When laws changed, I remember in 1972 when we changed from driving on the right to the left, all primary schools in Nigeria, we had to go out and practice it. They had to tell us the reason why you have to obey this. That if you are, a pedestrian, you walk on the left. Because when you're walking on the left, the car coming will be facing you.
Yes.
So you are not under any kind of imminent danger. So, but those things are no longer there. And especially now that we have this upsurge of private schools and things like that, which are not regulated. So citizens' rights should be something that is as a normal course of living. In the normal life of a society, it should be there. It should be there from family to school to workshops to, to markets. It's about information. So we can't, in as much as we want to blame your colleagues in the Nigerian Association, we can't put that solely on their shoulders. It should be something that is woven into every fabric of the society.
What about the simplifying of it? Dr. Reju, Barrister Madaki, if it's so complicated to even want to pick it up and try.
I even want to pass that question to him. Is it possible? Is it legal to translate the constitution into Yoruba, Hausa, Igbo, have a pidgin?
Remove all those whereas.
And the sections, chapters, and clauses, they sort of, because you talk to a Brit, you talk to an American, they talk about the constitution freely. It's written in a language that everybody can understand. But these chapters and verses and clauses, subsection, and it just takes, and lawyers are highly elitist people with all due respect.
Okay, let's hold that.
Adam's logic.
Yeah, so Dr. Reju, as a civil servant, a typical civil servant, you're privy to, some information about a fraud in your office. What do you have working for you in terms of whistleblowing?
Yes, as I said earlier on, the civil servant is protected by the law. Now, we start from the point of the Constitution because we know that is paramount. So, he has a freedom of expression. And in this context, to express something that is wrong, that's going to be injurious to the populace.
Yeah.
So, he's protected. The challenge will actually come from how does he now blow the whistle. When he blows the whistle, what is likely to happen? Usually what happens is that when you blow a whistle, okay, for instance, the case he said, there's a fraud. He knows the facts and figures. He goes ahead to say, okay, I'm privy to this, I am aware of this. Yes, let's say the matter gets to court. Can he come and testify?
As a witness, all right. Yeah.
So that will be the challenge we usually say. But there's a way to get around it. The way to get around it in criminal prosecution. Yes, he can disclose to who somebody we call the police officer usually, or the EFCC operative, we call them
the
IPOs. Yeah, the prosecutors. Good. He can disclose it using a statement. We call it extrajudicial statement, where popularly you go to the police and say, write a statement. Okay. Now, what happens to a statement is that when you get to court to tender a statement, the law says the maker must come to tender it. But what you can do is that you can get somebody who knows the maker, you can tender through that person, and it still becomes a valid. So there's a way to get around it.
So the identity of that civil servant can be protected.
Can be protected.
All right.
But as we said, the civil servant should be able to get legal counsel from somebody.
Yeah.
Secondly, then you weigh it. Who is he in the cadre of the civil service? There are some people that have nothing to lose, but there are some, if he takes the step, there are certain things that may follow. So you weigh all these things, then the proper legal advice can be given to the civil servant. And then we hope, with the stance of what we hear the government say, we hope that yes, the government will look into that also, because one way to fight corruption, not just to fight corruption on the pages of newspaper, but to create incentives. Yes, it's good to demystify and say wrong is wrong, but also create incentives for right doing, so that Nigerians can come up to say, I've seen this, and then they have no regrets when they disclose.
Exactly.
All right.
All right, Obi Brown.
I need to ask how things outside of the Constitution sort of impact what our rights are. Events, legal events outside of the Constitution impact what our rights are. And how we also, you drive on the streets, FRS wants to stop you and search your papers, VI wants to stop you and search your papers, police wants to stop you and search your papers very soon, NSCDC wants to stop you and search your papers. How do we know?
A very relevant question. You see, as we said, with so many laws, so overlapping functions. When that judgment came from the Federal High Court, it said that the Federal Road Safety Commission exceeded its limits, its powers. They have the right, particularly to procure and distribute number plates and all those things that happen. Nigerians began to know why, so they didn't have the rights. Yes. For instance, the vehicle, inspection officer or office, the VIO, they have their work, and most of them are state bound. FRSC is national, it's federal. Mm-hmm. Now, what usually should happen is that each one of them have specified functions, like Federal Road Safety. The name is straightforward. They are set up to ensure that users of the road, whether you have a car, you don't have a car, you abide strictly road sign, so that you take care of yourself and take care of the next man, whether it's a pedestrian or a road user too. Good. That's your function. So that's why when they stop you, what they check is your speed limits. They check, are you on your seat belt? The state of your road is okay. The car is okay, or your state of whatever you drive is okay. But then when it comes to the VIO, like the name, Vehicle Inspection Officer. Now, what they are meant to do is that usually, as I said, they're meant to form a signage, they're meant to interface. When you want to process your driver's license, yes, they should have an input. What is an input? Call you, see who is this person. In developed climes, they even take you to a psychiatrist. They test you. Who are you? Are you mentally sound? Who is driving? Who is on the wheels? Because somebody could just be on the wheels and then cause us a lot of problems. So they interface, they check you, then check your vehicle. Is it in order? So when the VIO stops, all they should be checking is the roadworthiness. Whose car is this? Is it okay? Then you come to the police. The policeman has no business stopping somebody and telling you to produce your documents of your car. And
if I can interject something there. Now, is there a way where the police can be justified to ask for vehicle papers? Maybe say they've picked up an information that the car has just been stolen or something like that, right?
Yes.
Okay.
They can.
Yeah.
And in such cases, they should stop, and they should be strict. Stop within the scope of their search. Okay. So they just know the particulars they're looking for. They can do that. But anything else.
So it's not a matter of this is expired, this is not expired.
No, that's for another body to do. But there's just, they know.
How people are listening out there, because how people are listening because this police guys, all in the name of uniform, they just sort of harass people and just ask for fire extinguisher, and all manner of things that doesn't exist anywhere. So because what we need to learn from this is that a citizen took FRSC to court and got judgment. We can keep lying to ourselves or, excusing ourselves that the law doesn't work. Maybe somebody just need to press the button. Exactly. Maybe somebody just need to go further than what we are doing. Because I still believe that citizens deserve their government. We should stop blaming government. If somebody will stick his neck out just like that guy and, take the bull by the horn and take FRSC to court. And everybody is benefiting from that today. So maybe, if we have that on a regular basis, I think everybody will sit up. Yeah. I would look forward to a day when somebody takes the police to court.
I think it has happened, but it hasn't been thrown out there. People are not seeing. There's no testimony, if I can use that word.
we need to really amplify this. Exactly. That somebody took FRSC to court and got judgment. Yeah. Because where we excuse ourselves is that nothing will happen. Let's keep doing. Let nothing happen. Let's keep doing until something happens.
Unfortunately, we have come to the end of this program. Unfortunately, thank you, Barrister Madaki. You have been of enormous help. Dr. Reju, Obi Brown, Adams Lojok, Mr. Isaac Omoni, thank you. To the listeners, I'm sure you have taken, quite a lot, with you.
Join us again on Answers with Dr. Reju, where critical life issues are clarified.